Hello, Year Fives. Welcome back to online school. Good to see you. Hope you had a great holiday and had a good rest. It is sad that we're back to online school, but we're going to make the most of it and do what we can. And today you're actually going to get a chance to tell us about your holidays. Even if you didn't do anything, that doesn't matter because today's writing task is true or false. So you can tell us a story, write us a story, and it can either be something that did happen to you this holiday, or a previous holiday, or it didn't happen and you just made it up. And then we will comment when we write you your feedback. We'll comment whether we think it's true or false. And then you can see whether you got us or not. So I'll start. I'll tell you a story, and you guys can post in the poll on the English narrative page. There's a link to narrative at the top of the English page. And you can post in the poll whether you think it's true or not. I'm going to start with a sizzling start, but it's a bit different when you say the story as opposed to write the story. So when you guys are writing the story, your sizzling start's going to be longer. So my sizzling start's just going to be one line, and it's going to be, this is how I nearly broke my legs on the holidays. My dad likes to grow lots of trees in his garden, and he has a really wild garden that looks like a jungle, and my mum hates to go out there because it's so messy. But he had been growing these trees, and one of them was getting too tall. He planted these gum trees, and they grow really fast, and they take up lots of water and stuff. So he wanted to cut it down. He'd already cut the top half down. He needed help with the bottom half of the tree, which was thicker and wider. It was about maybe that wide. So it was a fair, trunk. Maybe even that wide. Yeah, bigger than my head. And so he had a chainsaw that he would chop the first half of the tree down with. So if this is the trunk, he would cut into it with the chainsaw so that the tree would fall that way. And he had a rope at the top that he would use to pull the tree that way as well. So he would cut into it on this side and pull it this way so the tree would fall this way and not into the fence and into the neighbor. And while he had the rope pulling that way, I had a rope going the other way that would act as a brake. So that rope came around another tree, and I was holding the rope with a special knot so that I could let it out slowly, so that when my dad was pulling it down, that it didn't come crashing down and bounce around everywhere, but I could control it and be like a bit of a brake on it. So anyway, Dad is chopping the tree, and then he goes around to the other side to make sure it's just that little bit in the middle, and then he starts to pull, and he pulls and pulls and pulls, and I'm sitting there ready to go. I'm holding it really tight, holding onto the brake. And he starts to pull, and he says, can you let go a little bit? Because the brake was tight and he couldn't pull it down anymore. So I start letting out the rope, and then he pulls and pulls and pulls, and the tree snaps where it's supposed to. But the brake rope that I have, because of the way that it's tied around, means that the trunk starts swinging towards me. And so it breaks in the middle, the trunk starts swinging towards me, and I see that if I don't move, it's going to hit me like in the waist. It's going to break my legs. So I see it coming towards me. This is all happening in like a second or two. And it bounces off an old table that's there. And it's coming towards me. And everything starts to slow down. It's all in slow motion. And I realize that because of the length of the trunk, it's actually going to miss me if I just take a few steps back. So I take a few steps back. I realize I haven't gone far enough. I think actually it is going to hit me. So what I need to do is I need to raise one leg to let the trunk pass underneath. So I do that. I raise one leg. The other leg is backed up as far as it can. Raise one leg, and the log connects with my leg just as I'm lifting it out of the way. So it kind of smacks it as I'm lifting it out of the way. And boom, crash, hits the other trees. My dad runs over, he's really worried. And I'm feeling pretty cool that I survived a possible leg break. And all I have left is a little bruise on my ankle. So there you go. That is my story, Year 5s. Post in the poll whether you think it's true or false. And now I'll type it up to show you a bit of a reminder of how to use your sizzling start, your tightening tension, and your exciting ending. All right, here we go. Here we go, writers. So, true or false, which is a kind of narrative, and the things that we are looking for in your writing are the sizzling start. This time you only need to do one main problem, so it's just one tightening tension problem. You don't have to do the pebble rock boulder, just the boulder. And the exciting ending is how you save that. Remember, it can't be too simple, which is cleverness, bravery, talent, teamwork, or skill. Can't be too simple. Tightening tension needs to be long and strong, also lots of senses, and also almost fail. You have to almost fail, or the person in your story if you're telling a story about someone you know. And the sizzling start, of course, moment of action. You want to make them keep reading, and senses as well. So because I told you my story with just verbally, not written, usually your sizzling start for a verbal story, you wouldn't start walking up to someone and saying, hey, let me tell you a story. My heart was beating really fast. I couldn't believe what was happening, blah, blah, blah. You would just say, let me tell you about the time I nearly broke my legs. That's enough of a sizzling start if you're talking, but we are writing, so it's going to be a bit fuller now. So an example of that from my story. Is it true? Is it false? You tell me. I had never thought that I would actually have my legs broken. I'd never broken a bone in my entire life. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use a little bit of the tightening tension and drop it into the sizzling start to give a bit of a taste of what's coming up and end on a bit of a cliffhanger. End the sizzling start on a bit of a cliffhanger. The tree trunk swung towards me. I was trapped. Let's add some senses in because I haven't actually done that very much yet at all. My grip felt slippery and unsteady. My feet shuffled in fear as my mind raced, going through all the options. I could hear my dad yelling, "No!" as he dropped his rope in slow motion and started running towards me. Some sort of transition onto the actual story could be good there. So you could say, how did I even get here? Or something like, how did I get myself into this situation? So there we go. That would be a sizzling start that you could get some good feedback for year 5. Has a moment of action, has some senses, and I even previewed the tightening tension problem a little bit without actually solving it, just leaving it on a cliffhanger. And the best ones also have a bit of a transition onto the rest of the story. I'm not going to write the story in full because last time I did that it took about half an hour. So I'll just give some dot points. The backfill is also good to include. So Dad has a garden full of trees, that sort of stuff. And like the info about how to cut it down so you understand how the tree's falling and where the ropes are and everything. And then the tightening tension problem will be the trunk swinging towards me. Swimming towards me. That would be a scary trunk. Trunk swinging towards me. My reaction. And all of the action and senses that's happening. Then the exciting ending, I solve it, though I say it myself, with a bit of cleverness, and maybe a little bit of skill, I guess. Cleverness/skill. In sidestepping and raising leg to avoid. There we go, something like that. And that should about do it, year 5. So that's just a quick dot point summary. But you would obviously write it more using all of these in a bigger way. So your tightening tension, your problem would be long and strong. Senses almost fail. Oh, and also remember some of it has to be in slow-mo, which means not many events. Instead, you have lots of detail and descriptions. Looking forward to reading about that writing soon, year 5s. Good idea to write down these strategies just as a quick recap. So then you have them with you on your paper ready to go. Can you guys see this lens flare on the camera? It's really sunny coming through the window right now. Well, there it is. Ooh, lens flare. Woo-hoo-hoo! They use that in like Transformers a lot. Lens flare. Yeah, looks like it's a laser cutting me in half. That could be a good true false story. There you go, year fives. Let us know in the forums if you have any questions, and we will see you soon. Okay, bye.